Tonight, we're going to be giving a Running Start program overview. We'll cover several key topics like what is Running Start, how does eligibility work, how does the funding work, and what is the cost breakdown. Afterward, we'll hear from a Running Start advisor who will talk about their role and offer some tips and tricks for academic planning. Then, we'll have a representative from Washington State University, Vancouver to discuss transferring after Running Start. Finally, we'll walk through the enrollment steps you need to follow after this session to get started with Running Start this summer or fall, and share about resources to help you navigate everything successfully. Before we wrap up, we'll have a live Q&A with a current Clark College Running Start student, so you can hear firsthand about their experiences as a Clark student. Let's dive in. A Running Start program overview. First, let's talk about what Running Start is. This program, established in 1990, is a statewide program in Washington where high school juniors and seniors can attend a community college and earn dual credit. Dual credit coursework satisfies both high school graduation requirements and counts toward college degree requirements. It's a fantastic way to earn college credit while still in high school. For example, let's say you take an English class through Running Start your junior year. That class would fulfill your high school English requirement, but it's also a real English 101 class required for most college degrees. So you get credit for both high school and college through one class. The best part, tuition is covered by your high school. Students are responsible for additional fees, which we'll talk about in detail later. However, there's also a Running Start fee waiver available for students who show financial need, helping to reduce these additional costs. It's an affordable, time-saving way to earn college credit while you're still in high school, making it an excellent opportunity for students to take advantage of. So, how do you qualify for Running Start? Students must meet the following requirements: be a rising junior or rising senior as determined by your high school district, live in Washington State, and be enrolled through a Washington public school district. If you're homeschooled or attend a private school, you can still participate, but you'll need to register with a local public high school. You don't have to physically attend that school, but since tuition is covered by the high school, you'll need to be officially enrolled through a public district. We will share a few more details, but please note that summer term is available for rising juniors and seniors. So, why choose Clark College for your Running Start experience? Many of you might already know Clark. You may have visited campus or have friends or family who've gone here. Clark is deeply connected to the community, with strong partnerships, a vibrant student life, and lots of support resources to help you succeed. Academically, our students do really well, whether they're transferring or heading straight into the workforce. In fact, Washington State University, Vancouver receives more transfer students from Clark than from any other college. Clark is also an affordable way to complete general education requirements or earn a 2-year degree that can lead to family wage careers. And we're always growing and innovating with new facilities like our Boschma Farms campus in Richfield, so you're learning in modern, hands-on environments. One option many Running Start students take advantage of is the Direct Transfer Agreement, or DTA, which allows students to transfer to a 4-year university with junior status after completing their associate's degree at Clark. This ensures you satisfy all or most of the basic general education requirements for the university, making your transfer process smoother. Even if you're transferring to a university without a direct transfer agreement with Clark, your credits from Running Start and Clark College will still transfer, but we recommend checking in with your receiving university to confirm their transfer policies. Also, Clark has a variety of free student support resources. free tutoring services for various subjects, both in person and online, drop-in or by appointment. Disability Access Center for accommodations, especially if you currently have an IEP or 504 plan. We encourage you to connect with their office to explore support options. The Career Center for help exploring majors and career interests. If you're a student that's coming in this with a big question mark about not knowing what to study or what career you want to pursue in the future, we recommend you take advantage of the services offered by our Career Center. Student success coaches are ready to provide personalized, one-on-one support to help you meet academic and personal goals. A counseling and health center for free and confidential counseling and numerous low-cost physical health care services. The Basic Needs Hub that offers a space for students facing challenges with access to basic needs like adequate food, housing, toiletries, and other needs. If you just want to stop by and say hello to our resident therapy dog, Oso, he would love to have you stop by. And last, Office of People and Culture to help create an inclusive campus environment. Be on the lookout for student luncheons that they host. It's a beautiful space to hear stories from the different communities on campus. Your time as a Running Start student is so much more than academics, and we want to encourage you to take advantage of all the community building opportunities. There are plenty of chances for extracurricular involvement, such as student government, student ambassadors, and peer mentors, which are paid part-time positions here on campus. We also have literary and art journals that students contribute to, and free performing arts events for students. Students can connect with clubs like STEM Nerd Girls, Japanese Club, and the Model United Nations. These are just a few. Clark College is a fantastic place where you can excel academically while also building a community around your interests and passions. Did you know that Running Start students have a dedicated space on campus called Penguin Early College Center, or PEC Center? Danny and Dina, along with a team of peer mentors, have done a tremendous job of creating a supportive, welcoming, and fun environment for our students to take advantage of. Opened since fall 2023, the center is a dedicated space for Running Start students to connect, study, and collaborate. It's equipped with laptops, adaptive learning devices, study tables, and a projection system for practicing presentations for your classes. You'll also find Clark staff available to help with questions and resources. If you're planning to participate in Running Start, make sure to check out the PEC Center. It's a great place to get support and meet other fellow Clark Running Start students. How is Running Start funded? And what is the cost of attending? In the next few slides, we'll cover how Running Start is funded and what the cost of attending would look like. During a Running Start student's classes, you'll be in courses alongside other Running Start students, students who have recently graduated from high school, and students who may be further along in their degrees or even returning to college after a break. So, the experience for a Running Start student is going to be very similar to the experiences of these other students at Clark College, with one major difference: the funding. Running Start students have their college tuition covered by their high school. Each term, a Running Start student will need to submit an enrollment verification form, or EVF for short. This form needs to be signed by the student, their parent, and their high school counselor. The cost of Running Start for each individual student depends on the information provided on the EVF, as well as whether the student is approved for the additional fee waiver. Please note that high school counselors may have their own timelines for when students can meet with them to discuss and complete this paperwork. Be sure to work with your high school counselor and get the form submitted to Clark College's Enrollment Services Office. One thing to note Don't wait until summer to do this, because your high school counselors are likely going to be off during that time. This is an example of how the scheduling of your counselors could impact your availability to complete this form. We'll also be sending a copy of the EVF in our post-event email. If you haven't filled out the check-in form yet, go ahead and do that now. We'll share the form again in the chat for your convenience. And if you have any questions about the enrollment verification form or this process, please reach out to us at enroll@clark.edu. Running Start funding applies to college-level courses, which are 100 level and higher. If you decide to take a class that is below the 100 level, you can still enroll in that class, but the tuition won't be covered by your high school. In that case, you'll need to pay out of pocket for that course. Running Start students are eligible to receive funding for up to 21 credits per term. But keep in mind, 21 credits is quite a heavy course load for any student. The recommended maximum is 15 credits, which is considered a full-time load. If you wish to take more than 20 credits, you'll need approval from the college. This is a requirement for all students, not just those in the Running Start program. Your high school counselor will help determine how many credits can be covered by Running Start funding based on the information in your enrollment verification form. As a Running Start student, your college-level coursework is covered by your high school, but there are still some additional costs to consider. We encourage students to regularly check their CTC Link account to see if any fees are due. Running Start students are responsible for additional costs as well, like textbooks, supplies, and transportation. However, parking is free on campus as long as you park in an unmetered spot. Alrighty, let's take a look at a breakdown of some of these fees. Course fees typically range from $30 to $50 per course. Student fees are $7.25 per credit. Books can cost between $75 to $150. FDDA, or First Day Digital Access, or online books, can range from $20 to $100 per course. You might also want to consider getting a student ID card, which is $9. It can provide discounts and helps you secure a free C-Tran bus pass. Here's an example cost comparison. A general student taking 15 credits at Clark would pay around $1,728.20 for tuition, and this is excluding fees associated with textbooks. But as a Running Start student, that could range from $0 to $350, and this excludes books and FDDA fees, depending on if you qualify for the fee waiver. It's undeniable that a major benefit of Running Start is the cost savings. A local public university can cost over $12,000 per year in tuition. With Running Start at Clark, you're earning college credit while significantly reducing these costs. Even Clark's regular tuition is far more affordable than a university's, so you're saving both money and time on your college journey. For rising seniors, which are the class of 2027, and rising juniors, the class of 2028, you may be able to take up to 10 college credits during the summer term through Running Start. To get started, you'll need to complete the Summer Running Start Enrollment Verification form and have it approved by both your high school counselor and Clark College. Even if you're undecided about taking classes this summer, it's a good idea to apply for the summer term when you submit your application. This ensures you're ready if you decide to move forward with enrolling into summer courses. For more details, you can reach out to Carmel Baldwin at kbaldwin@clark.edu or call 360-992-2284. The big takeaway is we want to make sure that you get your form in early and get the support you need from your counselor and from us with your enrollment steps. Students may qualify for other sources of funding to help with cost. BFET, or the Basic Food Employment and Training Program, is a federally funded initiative designed to help remove financial barriers, which makes college more accessible. It can help cover costs like the required books and supplies. It also covers costs like course fees, including those that can't be waived. It also helps with other expenses related to attending college and maintaining attendance. To qualify, you or your family must be receiving federal benefits through SNAP in Washington state. To get started, complete the Workforce Education Services application, which is accessible after you've applied to Clark and activated your student accounts. Then we would work with you to schedule an in-person appointment where your parent or guardian must join you for the appointment. Note that BFET funding is only available for courses that apply toward your AA degree. For more details, you can reach out to bfet@clark.edu. Now, we'll hear about advising and academic support from Grace, a Running Start advisor. Thank you so much, Grace.
Hello, everyone. My name is Grace. I am one of the Running Start academic advisors at Clark College, and I'm happy to be here tonight. At Clark, we have 3 Running Start advisors, so I am one of them, and then I work with Carly and Mike as well. So if you decide to join us at Clark, you will work with one of the 3 of us as your academic advisor at the college. So when thinking about joining Running Start, we want you to think about what that might look like for you. Being in the Running Start program can look very different for each student. So some students are coming to Clark to maybe just try out college and give it a chance with maybe 1 or 2 classes just to see what college is like. Other students are looking to step away from their high school and take majority of their classes at Clark and maybe take no classes at their high school or maybe just 1 or 2. Other students might do a more even split between high school and Clark College. So some students come in with just wanting to get some of their high school requirements done while also earning college credit. Other students are hoping to work toward certain prerequisites for a particular career or educational pathway. And then other students might be hoping to earn an associate's degree. So when you are first starting out at Clark and your initial meeting with an advisor, we will ask you what you're hoping to get out of the Running Start program and coming to Clark. And we'll be able to help you create a plan that is best going to suit your goals. So when you're thinking about if Running Start makes sense for you, think about what it is that you might be hoping to get out of being in Running Start. And if you aren't sure, that's okay too. And in an initial advising appointment, we'll kind of help to ask some of those questions and get a little bit of an idea for how we can help you. But all this to say that Running Start can look different for each student, and it really is up to you for how much or how little you want Clark to be a part of your junior and senior years. So another thing we'd like for you to think about a little bit if you decide to join us at Running Start and you are hoping to do a little bit more at Clark than just your high school requirements, would be to think about what you're hoping to do after high school a little bit, because your time in Running Start can potentially help to point you in a certain direction or make progress toward a certain career or goal. It's also totally okay if you are unsure about what you'd like to do, and you can use your time in Running Start to kind of explore some options. Maybe try a business class, maybe try a psychology class, things that you might not have available to you as class options at your high school. So we want you to think a little bit deeper than, I just want to get my AA degree. we can help you to make that happen if that is your goal. But we do want you to also be thinking a little bit about what are you hoping to do after high school, whether that's go into a certain type of job, whether that's transfer to a university and continue toward a bachelor's degree, whether that's to continue at Clark and maybe finish up an AA or a certain program that we have. So think a little bit too about what you might want to do after you graduate high school, and that can help us to make the most of your time at Clark, with the courses that you choose to take. Now, for those of you who would be interested in earning an associate's degree while you are in Running Start, that's going to mean that you're choosing to primarily do most of your classes with Clark rather than at the high school. So, in order to earn an associate's degree, it is 90 credits total of college level credits. And then there are certain degree requirements that make up those 90 credits. So this comes out to an average of 15 credits or units per term taken at Clark between the fall, winter, and spring quarters of your junior and senior year. At Clark, we have quarters rather than semesters. So we have fall, winter, and spring quarter, and then summer quarter is available as well, but is optional. So if you are hoping to earn an associate's degree, what that could mean is that you might just be taking one or maybe no classes at your high school, and then you would take majority of your credits and classes at Clark College. If you're hoping to do fewer than 15 credits a term, we can use the summer term to kind of make up some of those credits, and it still might be possible to earn an associate's degree, even if you aren't doing 15 credits per term during the school year. Another important thing to know is that if you're hoping to get an associate's degree, college level math is required. And so for a lot of Running Start students, they will take Algebra 2 at their high school during their junior year, and then they'll take a college level math class at Clark during their senior year to satisfy that associate's degree requirement. So we do want you all to continue with math at your high school through Algebra 2, which is considered pre-college level math, because that is needed to prepare you to take a college level math class at Clark. If you have taken AP classes and taken the exams, if you've passed those exams, we can potentially use the AP credit that was earned toward an associate's degree. So that's another question we'll usually ask you in a first advising appointment is if you've taken or plan to take any AP tests, and if we can apply that credit toward an associate's degree at Clark. Some students also might have CTE dual credit classes or college in the high school courses, and that credit could also be used toward an associate's degree. There is a maximum number of credits that students can take at Clark, depending on how much or how little they're taking at their high school. So it's about kind of splitting your time and courses between the two places. So if you are, taking 4 or 5 classes at your high school, then you aren't going to be able to take as many credits at Clark each term, which means that you might not make it to the full 90 needed to get an associate's degree. So in an advising appointment and with your high school counselor, you'll need to kind of figure out how you're going to split your classes or your courses between both high school and Clark. And that's what the advisors are also here to help you do. So we want you all to be making an appointment with an advisor, and we will help you to create individualized plans to either get a degree or based on whatever your goal is. But if you are choosing or wanting to hopefully get your associate's degree, this is a little bit of a picture of what it looks like and what's required to get that associate's degree. Now, what does it look like to kind of balance both high school and being a Running Start student at Clark? Well, here are some things that are important to know about navigating that balance. At Clark College, the Running Start advisors don't have access to all of your high school academic records. So we will depend on you as the student to let us know what your high school graduation requirements are that you still have. And so you'll need to meet with your high school counselor to get that information from them and then bring it to the Clark Running Start advisor. And then we'll help you to plan for what classes at Clark you can take in order to satisfy those high school requirements. But we do rely on you as the student to do that communication. So we will often ask you if you've talked to your high school counselor and if you know what your high school graduation requirements are when we meet with you. So there is some back and forth communication that the student does need to do with the high school counselor and the Clark advisor. We do have helpful documents that we call equivalency guides, and those documents tell us for your high school district, what are the graduation requirements that you can take at Clark. So if you still need US history, the equivalency guide will tell you what courses you can sign up for at Clark that will satisfy that high school US history requirement. And this does vary by district. So we want to make sure that you are using your high school district's equivalency guide when choosing courses to satisfy those high school requirements. Now, if you are planning to go on to a university after you graduate high school, you would be applying still as a first-year student. So we still advise students to take all the required state tests or do things like the SAT if the university that you think you might be applying to for after high school would require some tests like that. So really this slide is to emphasize that we do rely on the student to help us do the communication with the high school counselor back to the Clark advisor and the Clark advisor back to the high school counselor because the two schools don't have access to the academic records for the students. Okay, next slide. Now, when it comes to scheduling classes at Clark, there's a lot of things to consider to make sure that you set up a schedule that's going to work for you. So at Clark, we have classes in several different formats. We have some courses that meet in person, face-to-face on campus. We have some courses that are fully online and asynchronous, which means that there isn't even a virtual meeting time. And those courses are done pretty independently with dates and deadlines set throughout the term, but no regular meetings with a professor. We also have some classes that are hybrid, which means that there is an in-person meeting required, but there would also be some online work to do as well. And then the last type of class we have is our remote teaching courses, which means that the class does meet virtually. So you do have to attend at a specific day and time each week, but instead of being in person, it would happen virtually. So thinking about your learning style and what format is going to help you to be the most successful in the course is important to consider. Also, you may not be able to drive yet, or you may not have access to a car to come to campus. So we do need you to consider that as well. Are you going to be able to get to campus for in-person classes? A lot of Running Start students do use public transportation as well to come to campus, and you do get a free bus pass as a Clark student. So that's, transportation schedules can be another thing to keep in mind. Also, if you're taking classes at your high school and Clark, keep in mind transportation time between the two schools is very important. You also need to consider other things that you might have, like extracurricular activities, work, athletics. Maybe you're involved with clubs or theater at your high school. And if you do want to continue to be involved in those things, that's great. We just have to make sure when you're signing up for Clark classes, you're not signing up for classes that would conflict with those things, because obviously you can't be in two places at once. If you are considering online courses, then we need to make sure that you have pretty good access to an internet connection and Wi-Fi. It's not going to make sense to have a remote class that meets over Zoom if you're not really able to log on and be present for that class. So keeping all of these different things in mind is going to be important when it actually comes to signing up for classes, considering the format, the time, and avoiding scheduling conflicts with either high school classes or the other things you talked about that you might have on your schedule. Now, you might be wondering, what can I expect as far as what it's going to be like to be in college classes instead of high school courses? So, as you might imagine, college courses are more academically rigorous than high school courses and will involve maybe more studying and time than you might be used to. So, to help you get an idea, we have a general rule of thumb that we use. So, I've mentioned before that you are going to be signing up for a certain amount of credits each term. And so, for the amount of credits that you're scheduled, we would expect 2 to 3 hours per credit or per unit. So, for example, if you are going to take 15 units in one term at Clark, this would come out to be probably 30 to 45 hours each week on studying or devoted to your classes. So that is quite a lot. Online classes have set dates for assignments, tests, quizzes, and postings, but most of that work is done independently. So if you're signing up for a fully online class, you should expect that you're going to have to kind of have strong time management skills and be quite organized so that you're keeping yourself on track rather than having a class to show up to on a regular basis that kind of helps you stay on track. So some of the skills that are going to be helpful for this is to work on establishing a good schedule and routine for yourself and developing those strong time management skills. Now, a lot of Running Start students do share with us that the first term feels a bit like a big adjustment, and that's very normal. So the transition from high school to college, there are several big differences between the two. And so that first term can maybe feel a little bit overwhelming, but if you are able to figure out how to establish a good routine for yourself and kind of get into a schedule, hopefully you'll adjust and things will become much easier. We also do want to emphasize the fact that your Clark classes do matter. So as far as grades, so your Clark grades will get sent back to the high school and those will be put on your high school transcript and will impact your high school GPA. And so if you do decide to apply to colleges, how you do in your Clark classes will affect your high school GPA. We also want to just point out that if you do decide to continue at Clark College after high school, which many Running Start students do, your performance in your courses while you're in Running Start can affect your financial aid eligibility because that academic record will continue with you. So we have a lot of supports for academics at Clark that we want students to use, but also we just like to point out that your you are starting kind of your college transcript while in Running Start. And so that does affect both high school and potentially future college GPA. And for the parents that are on the call or supporters, we just want to empower you to encourage your students to really be independent and support them in this process, but also that there will be a good amount of responsibility in making the transition to a college student. All right, and I'm going to pass it over to Maura, who's here from WSU Vancouver.
Thank you again, Grace. Maura now joins us from Washington State University, Vancouver, to talk about transferring after Running Start. Thank you for being here tonight, Maura.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Amanda. As Amanda mentioned, my name is Maura Schaefer, and I am an admissions counselor at Washington State University, Vancouver. And I currently work with students who are interested in transferring from Clark College to WSU Vancouver. And I'm actually currently at Clark College a couple times a week, answering questions that students have and meeting with them to help them through the transfer process. One resource that I will often refer students to who are interested in transferring from Clark College to WSU Vancouver is the WSU Vancouver Transfer Credit Pathways page that's linked on this slide here. And this page shows a list of suggested courses that are specific to a student's academic area of interest. And this page will also include recommended transfer degrees for the different degrees that are offered at WSU Vancouver, and it's a great resource. As was mentioned previously today, if you do plan to pursue an associate's degree and you want to transfer to a four-year university such as WSU Vancouver, the Direct Transfer Agreement, or DTA associate, is often recommended. And I always encourage students to connect with their Clark College advisor to learn about which degree plan is best suited for them. Courses at Clark College will typically transfer to WSU Vancouver if they are numbered 100 level or higher and are academic in subject. And as Grace mentioned, at most colleges, you will be held to first year or freshman admission criteria, and this is true at WSU Vancouver as well, which includes all 4 years of high school. However, once students are completely done with all their classes at Clark, they can have an official transcript sent over to WSU, and then we are able to evaluate that transfer credit and make sure they get credit for that. If students are interested in taking a tour of our WSU Vancouver campus, we do offer campus tours, and they are led by student ambassadors who are all students at WSU Vancouver. You could sign up for a campus tour at the link included on the slide here, and you can also find more information about this on our webpage as well. We also do have events called preview days, and we have one coming up on Thursday, May 14th from 4 to 6:30 p.m. And these are great opportunities for students who are interested in WSU Vancouver to come to our campus and learn more about the campus, campus life, paying for college, and about the admissions process. It is from 4 to 6:30 on May 14th, as I mentioned, and if you are interested in registering, you could do so at the QR code included here, and you could also find more information on our WSU Vancouver webpage. And then lastly, as I mentioned previously, I do meet with Clark College students who are interested in transferring to WSU Vancouver. If you are interested in scheduling an appointment with me, you can do so at the QR code included on this screen here. And my email is also included on here, as well as my phone and text number. I'm happy to meet with you and answer any questions you have about the transfer process.
Thank you, Maura.
And then this is just information about staying in touch. If you do have any other questions, you can also reach out to our WSU Vancouver admissions office at the phone number and email included here.
Thank you so much. Well, we hope you're feeling excited about getting started with the Running Start program at Clark College. In the next few slides, I will walk you through the steps you need to follow to apply and get started with us for this upcoming summer or fall term, as well as resources available to help you navigate everything successfully. We're here to support you each step of the way. As we chat about enrollment steps, the main takeaway is that the process is very manageable, and we support you at every step. First, you'll apply to Clark College. There is an application fee, but fee waiver codes are widely available through your high school counselor, a recruiter when we visit your school, or the one-stop desk in Geyser Hall. After you apply, you'll receive a welcome email with your student ID and next steps. Next, connect with your high school counselor. They'll help you complete your enrollment verification form, which is required for Running Start. Then you'll complete the online orientation, where you'll set up your student accounts, learn about campus resources, and review English and math placement options. Placement is mainly for English and math, and submitting an unofficial transcript helps us use your GPA and grades when possible. Finally, you can attend a Running Start group advising session in the spring and feel confident and ready before registration for classes opens in mid-May. And you don't need to memorize this. We'll follow up with reminders and resources. Now that you've seen the steps, let's zoom out a bit and look at a suggested timeline that shows you how you can complete each piece so you're ready when registration opens. We've heard from many students how helpful a timeline would be. Even though there aren't strict deadlines, this suggested timeline shows what to focus on and when. In April, start by attending a Running Start webinar like tonight, talking with your high school counselor, and applying to Clark. This is also a great time to get help at an application and support night or through your counselor or career center to see when we're hosting workshops at your school. After applying to Clark, complete the new student orientation, finish English and math placement, and attend a group advising session to make sure you're ready to register for classes. May is a big month. Attend any remaining group advising sessions, add classes to your shopping cart, and register when registration opens in mid-May. Getting your steps done early means you'll be ready to register right away. Before your school year ends in June, complete your enrollment verification form with your counselor. This is required, so don't wait. During the summer, optional but recommended steps include meeting with an academic advisor for long-term planning or connecting with a career advisor. The goal isn't to rush. It's to spread things out so the process feels manageable. For extra reminders and helpful tips, join our student newsletter. Links are in the chat and in your post-event email tomorrow. Just a friendly tip when you're applying. Select summer 2026 as your term when applying, even if you are slightly thinking about summer enrollment. If you decide not to take summer classes, you will still be completely set to register for fall classes. It will not impact you negatively. If you have already applied for fall but are now considering summer, please join us at our upcoming application support nights. Visit us via Zoom in the Virtual Support Center or simply complete a summer EVF. This will help us activate you for the summer term. I would like to highlight additional ways for you to receive support from us at Clark. For more help, you can drop into our Virtual Support Center through Clark's website, which is clark.edu. After landing on our main page, you can find the Virtual Support Center tab at the very top of the page. Here, you will find Zoom rooms hosted by different departments. No appointment is necessary. You can just drop in and get the assistance you need. Our application and enrollment support night is a great opportunity for students and their supporters to get hands-on help with the enrollment process. These sessions are optional, but incredibly helpful if you need assistance submitting your application, getting an application fee waiver code, resolving holds on your account, or have general questions. This event will be next Thursday, April 23rd, with sessions available at 3:30, 4:30, 5:30, and 6:30 p.m. If your schedule allows, please register for a time slot, and if a time slot fills up, don't worry. We'll reach out tomorrow to help you register for future ones as well. The one after that will be Thursday, May 7th, with the same times as well. A quick reminder, we will not be registering students for classes at this event. This night is specifically for getting your application submitted, securing a fee waiver code, and taking care of any account hold so you'll be ready for registration in mid-May. We'd love to support you. Go ahead and grab a spot using the link in the chat. Once you've applied and completed orientation, another highly encouraged and recommended resource is our group advising sessions. These sessions focus on what comes next, understanding how Clark classes can meet your high school requirements, learning how to use the class schedule, and identifying your first term courses. Sessions will be offered both in person and virtually in April and May, and you'll receive an email after today with sign-up details, or you can scan the QR code on this slide. If you have more questions, we encourage you to keep using the Q&A feature, and our team will continue to answer them. At this time, we will now hear from a current Running Start student from ITech, Soleil Edgar, who will answer a few questions that many of you shared with us at the time of registering. Thank you for sharing your insight with us so we could address what is important for you all to learn about today. Soleil is also a peer mentor from our PEC Center. Thank you so much for being here tonight, Soleil. Before we get started, can you share with us what you're studying at Clark and when you'll graduate high school?
Yeah, I'm currently studying pre-nursing and I'll be graduating next year in 2027.
Oh, that's so exciting. So our first question is, what does a typical week look like for you as a Running Start student? How do you balance college classes, any high school classes, homework, and your personal life?
Yeah, so I have work every morning from 8 to 1. And Tuesdays and Thursdays I leave to go to work for my Japanese class, or sorry, go to Clark for my Japanese class at 11:30, which is an hour and a half. And besides that, my other two classes are online this term, so I spend about 2 to 4 hours a day just working on assignments and studying, kind of like I would if I were just at high school, but spending about half the time and on my own terms. So I'm usually caught up by my schoolwork by Friday, and I don't usually do assignments or study much on weekends since I prefer to go out with my friends or just watch TV at home.
Yeah, sounds like a lot of freedom and independence that Running Start has given you. Two, how different are Clark college classes from your high school classes? Like, what is the biggest adjustment for you academically, and how did you prepare or adapt?
The biggest difference is that I'm not at school for 8 hours a day, which gives me a lot more freedom to work on the assignments that I want to work on during the day, but it also comes with a lot of responsibility. I personally always keep my Canvas calendar open, which shows me when all of my assignments are due and helps me stay on top of my work. And there are other like methods and resources that you can use that'll help you out with this. My professors have always had resources or ideas that will like listed that'll help you stay on track. But at Clark, your professors won't constantly be reminding you of your deadlines or really making sure that you're working on your projects like they might have done in high school, especially if you're in an online class. So it's completely up to you to plan your time out and make sure you're getting assignments done. But to me, it was really worth it to have the independence to work and study on my own schedule.
Number three, how has Running Start affected your high school experience or social life? What have you gained and what trade-offs, if any, have you noticed?
I personally don't go to my high school for any classes, but most of my friends still do, and even still go to homecoming and other high school events while still being connected to Clark. But I can't say I've noticed any trade-offs, even even when it comes to schoolwork, and even though I'm someone who's pretty focused on my academics, I've still found a lot of opportunities to meet people in clubs and other Running Start students in the interest groups, and I've had a lot more time to do things like work on getting my license, which before was I was always too busy to do. Not to mention just the thought of being in college was beforehand was always something that felt like it was going to be really difficult. So it's really cool to see myself doing that now.
Wow, a lot of growth you've had. Um, 4, what has your experience been with online versus in-person classes at Clark? How did you decide which format worked best for you? And what advice would you give students choosing between those two?
Personally, I prefer a mix of both, but it also depends on the class. For example, I have a Japanese class right now, which is in person, and biology and psychology, which are both online. So any language class, I would always want that to be in person because I'd want experience speaking. But for other classes like psychology, it wouldn't make much difference for me, so I chose online. For online classes, there aren't any set dates or meeting times, so they're a bit more flexible, especially if you have high school classes or you have a job. But they do require like a higher level of responsibility and independence for planning your own schedules and setting aside time to study. So it might be tempting to like enroll in completely online classes and not to go to campus at all. But I definitely recommend to choose like a mix of in-person online, at least for your first term, so you can see which ones are like better suited for you.
Thank you. And last question for tonight is how has Running Start helped you move toward your future goals? And would you recommend the program to other students?
It depends on your goals, but for most students, I'd say yes. I'm on track to graduate my associates in pre-nursing and get my high school diploma at the same time. So I'll be able to get a head start in my nursing career and get my bachelor's by the time I'm 20. And if I didn't decide to do Running Start, I wouldn't get it until I'm 22. And even if you aren't sure what you want to pursue, you can always go for a general transfer degree, which will help you get a head start on a bachelor's. And you can you can explore your interests and decide what you want to do while you're getting your high school diploma as well, which will let you graduate younger than most or just give you room to breathe in case you have any circumstances or you want to take a gap year.
Chloe, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We wish you the best on the rest of your Running Start journey here at Clark College.
Thank you.
And thank you all for joining us tonight. We will be emailing you tomorrow in our post-event email where you will find important documents, resources, and tools. As a reminder, if you have not yet completed that check-in form, please do so before you leave. Ultimately, we look forward to seeing you on campus soon, as we are always excited to welcome new students to the Penguin Nation. Again, thank you for being here this evening, and please keep an eye out for the post-event email. If you still have any questions, please put them in the chat, and we will continue answering those for the next couple of minutes. Thank you, everyone.